This one's for the troops. The reason I have my freedom today to be able to bring you RC content, play with such things, is for the fallen ones, the ones that gave me the freedoms. Without them and their sacrifice, I wouldn't have the freedom to do such a thing. So welcome to Memorial Day stream, and we are live, and I don't expect anybody to be watching today, but we are doing it anyhow, and we're going to keep it short because I do have a barbecue to go to, just like most of the country I live in. We celebrate this holiday. It's called Memorial Day. It is about remembering the soldiers that fought over the years to give us the freedoms and rights that we do have here in America. In case you're watching from another country, that is what Memorial Day is. It's to honor the soldiers, both living and no longer existing and dead. But the ones that sacrifice so much to make sure that this country that I live in stays the way it is and lets me do things. The freedoms that we got. So, good morning, peoples, and welcome to another exciting episode of Roughneck Adventures. And it's a drift car. Today we're going to talk about, because we have such freedoms in this country, how to obtain such things as all these RCs on very little money and slowly elevate so you get bigger and better stuff. I don't have my glasses, so let me look at the hi, Cook. Got 7 people watching. This was brought on partially because I know people are always trying to stretch their financial money, and sometimes this hobby can be very expensive, but it doesn't have to be. So, and I want to teach you what I do to raise money. And it's more of a hustle, sort of, but not. But you always have to be on the lookout for the deals. So you've seen people that flip houses. You've seen people that flip cars. Did you know you can flip RCs? The key is not to flip stuff that you have attached to in your personal collection. The key is to keep the stuff that you are flipping in the RC world separate from your mainstream cars. Like, I still have the majority of my collection. Unless it's a rig that I don't really care about, I generally don't let them go. Or if, under the right circumstances, if someone that I know is actually looking for an RC that I might have that I don't care about, like, I will sell to friends and stuff like that from my collection. But for the most part, my collection stays intact because all of them are like really custom builds. This isn't about custom building. So keep your collection separate from what you're going to be flipping. This is a drift car too. So, brand new, almost. I'll get to this and we'll unbox this so you know I'm not full of it. I'm not just showing you an empty box. This is my Traxxas drift car. And you can definitely tell the difference. Number one, like, I have the graphic On mine, nobody else has this graphic. This is my idea, my design for this graphic, for this drift car. And this is a Traxxas drift car. So is this. They're virtually the same car. This is a different color, and I'm going to show you that. So how did I get this? Let's unbox it, and then we'll go into that. I also got these with it, and these with it. These are street tires on rims, and these are just MST rims. Let's unbox it, and then we'll get to a little bit of story on how to obtain this. And just so you know, I'm not full of garbage. This car right here retails brand new for $329. $329 for this car. This also has one modification that I have on this, and I'll show it to you when I undo it, but you've seen me light up the bottom of this. This has the underglow lights. This car doesn't come with an underglow lights. That's like a $40 upgrade. This car, mind you, it is used, but it only got used once. This car has the underglow lights upgrade. So that's a $40 feature. So you're already at like $360, $370 for just sitting in a box. And then they threw in ST wheels, which I'm sure are like another $30. And then they threw in the street wheels with tires, which is even more money. So it's like a $400 value. And I got that $400 value by only spending $90. This is how you take $90 and make it into $400 in RC World. Let me show you that I'm not joking about what's... I mean, I've already opened it. I had to make sure it ran. I already have the controller sitting over here. But I wanted to show you that, yeah, it's legit. It's the green one. Remember, mine is this one, which is considered orange. It might look red in the video, but so this one's my original. This is my new one. They're both Traxxas Fortec drift cars. Colors different. They both have now, like I said, there's the strips, the underglow. They both have underglow. Let's talk about how you turn money, very little money, into a $400 value. So, that is something that I don't think a lot of you have thought. It takes work. Don't get me wrong. It's still work, but it's kind of fun work. And you don't know at the time when you're shopping around, and you're doing this, what the end result will be. So what I do, this is what I do. You got several different ways of looking for a product that you can flip. Now remember, keep your flipping product separate from your mainstream collection. The stuff you are getting is only for flipping, to make money on, to generate money or trades and things like that. Uh, we have several options. One is Facebook Marketplace here. I don't know if that's global, but it is in the States. Um, to find stuff. So if you watched my last stream, I had purchased several things. I didn't. I only showed one that I got rid of recently, which was the Vanquish Ultra. The Vanquish Ultra, which was just not even a. It was less than a slider. There's no electronics in it. It was just a shell. Um, I paid $50 for it. Okay, I made $200, so I made $150 profit off of paying $50 for it. So how did I do that? This is what I do. I go throughout the year and I look at marketplace. I look at here in the States, people do yard sales or garage sales and getting rid of stuff that they don't want that's just been collecting dust. I also go to swap meets. Um, and I look at stuff that other people are selling. And I bring X amount of money with me because these places take cash. But the nice thing about looking through stuff like that, and people are getting rid of stuff or selling collections because they hit hard times or whatever the reason they're selling it, you are now entering the used market. The used market, you have room to negotiate. I couldn't even read that. Let me move this closer. My eyes are so bad without my glasses. Ah. Ether, hi, how's it going? So, I went around, and it takes a little bit to get your flipping stuff together, and you got to know what you're looking at, and you got to understand what you're looking at, because if you don't, then you will lose. You need to understand the products that you're looking at and what it's worth, what it may be worth, and you know, like I knew when I bought the Vanquish Ultra for $50, I knew that truck was worth just the way it was. No electronics, no axles, no wheels, no tires. It had a transmission in it. It had rock lights on it. It had a body and frame and some fender wells. Nothing else. It was bare bone. I got it for 50. I knew that was worth at least 200, if not more. So you find deals like this. You go around and you collect this stuff. You hit the swap meets. You always looking for the next thing to buy at low cost. This is why you got to know what you're looking at. You got to know the value of it and how much you're willing to pay for it. And if you know the value of something, you can definitely determine when someone is trying to rob you and overcharge you or undercharge you. And you want to get it as low as possible so then you have max profit. It's like anything else in the world, but you're doing it with RCs. And you're finding these deals. You might find a set of rims at one place, and the guy might want $45 set of rims, beadlocks, aluminum, $45 for the set. You're looking at them and you're like, okay, so I'm not paying that. I'm not paying $45 for a set of four beadlock rims because I could buy them new for that. So then you wheel and deal, and you get it down to a number that you can live with, that you have room to make profit on. And when you make the profit, you can either take the cash and put it in your pocket, and that. But we're gonna get to that. But you gotta collect this stuff, because when you go to turn the stuff that you bought to money, you want more. You want a lot of options. And you want some low end items, real low end items. I'm like $5, $6, $10 for something, and you want some mid grade to high items that you paid really low money for. I have a box I keep separate, and it's for It's for swap meets. So I buy this stuff all over the place as I see it, as I come across it, and if I think it's a good deal, if I can make it, get it for the right cost, and you know, so we're at $50 for one item. I bought. Sorry, I don't have any water in here. I'm losing my voice. Hold on. I bought. Also, in my crazy hunts when people are selling at a garage sale, an RC four-wheel drive, like 80-ish chassis with axles and leaf springs. And I know, don't yell at me, leaf springs. Remember, this is for making money. This isn't, I'm not building a leaf spring truck. This is, I got this because it was a deal that I can flip. If I was building a truck, it's completely different, and I don't look for generally used stuff when I build my trucks. You can, but I try to keep that part separate from my money-making flipping of RC stuff. Sabine, hide. The whole concept is you're buying low and you're trying to get max return that you can. So you're always trying to sell for a profit, whether it's a couple dollars profit or hundreds of dollars of profit. That changes up things. So I took that truck I got for 50, and then I bought the RC four-wheel drive framing thing for $15. $15. It was old. It was rusty. It was from like 1990, maybe even older. It had some components on it that I wasn't even super familiar with. But for $15, it's steel axles. It didn't have a transmission. It was just axles, leaf springs onto chassis rails. That's all it was. And it was all metal components. It was all really, really old stuff. And it had, of course, old style shocks on it. Nothing that I really had any attachment to that I really wanted for my own self. It was just to flip. Because there is a market for vintage stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, there's certain people, it's not a huge market, but there's certain people that collect the old stuff. And they prefer the 1980s and the 70s to the 90s of old stuff when it comes to RC. So I picked that up for $15. You know, here's the thing. I went to a swap meet yesterday. I brought my box of stuff that I had compounded over time. I had a winch that didn't work. I was like $3, whatever. It was given to me. I threw it in my swap meet box. I had no use for it. I don't run wrenches on my crawlers. I had a bunch of other little stuff, and I had the Vanquish and this chassis. So, you know, and you're like, well, how do you get 90? We're gonna get to the 90 mark. This is how I got to 90 and to turn 90 into 400. The swap meet was I mean, it threatened rain. It wasn't as busy as I prefer when I go to swap meets, and I don't do them all the time. I wait till I have that box of stuff that I'm willing to sell and try to sell to make some money, and then I sell it. So I took that, you know, $65 worth of stuff plus a bunch of other little stuff and little things I had gathered throughout the year, because in the wintertime, swap meets don't generally happen. So you can be collecting all through the winter, and then springtime comes, swap meets start hitting. You can start hitting them up, making deals, and learning the ropes. And so I buy really low, so really mid to high. I'm always making a profit off this stuff. I do not go below what I've paid for it ever. $65 worth of stuff. Guy comes up. He's eyeballing the Vanquish. He's eyeballing it really hard. Mind you, this is a shell of a car. There's nothing to it. It's bare bone. It's like you would have to dump 300 to 400 in it to make it run. Like, it has the transmission, which I know is worth $200 off the bat because I know Vanquish products and I know their pricing. The chassis rails and stuff are a little out of date. It is a discontinued model. It is an Ultra, one of the first, but when they started making kits, but it's not a big deal to me because I have no attachment to this thing at all. Like, I paid dirt cheap for it. I knew what it was worth, and I move it. The guy comes up and he's like, "What do you want for it?" I was like, "Oh, 220." You go above what you really want because they're gonna negotiate. It's part of it. It's like, you know in your head what you paid for it. They don't know that number, and they will never know that number. Of course, now if they're watching, they know that number, but the deal's done. It's over with. So you want them to walk away feeling like they got a good deal while you're making profit. And he eyeballed it for a while, and he went to the next table where other people were selling stuff and walked around for a little while. Not a big deal. You can't. Do not force a sale. Do not be a pushy salesperson. Don't be like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Don't care. That's the whole point. You go into these things, you just can't care. You just, whatever. If I sell stuff, cool. If I don't sell stuff, cool. If I trade stuff, cool. Because you could trade for what you want. If you have enough stuff that's worth the value of what they want, and you can do that. I've done trades before. And generally when I do trades, I try to do partial trades. It's like, oh, you want this? How about you give me that and $100? But that's not what I did here. That is absolutely not what I did here. How in the world did I get this car for as little as I did? And you're scratching your head and you're like, huh? Well, this car was only driven once. This car, like I said, you always got to be watching. Always looking for the deals. Hey, invite. Wow. Hi, Virginia. I gotta read that. Getting ready to go soon. You know, and hopefully you're gonna go to a cookout. Are you having one? Or your kids having one? At least get some good eats after your gardening. And yeah, happy Memorial Day. Enjoy the day. We're finally getting some sunshine here. It's still a little chilly. All that rain has been insane. So I can completely understand. And tell your family I say hi, and I miss you guys. I know a lot of people. I've traveled a lot, and people know I do this, and they stop in and say hi. That's what that was about. But how in the world did I do $90 for a $400 value of an RC car? It was spending as little as I did. Well, the guy came back. Continuing with the story. He came back to my table, and he eyeballed it again. Picked it up, looked at it, sniffed it, tasted it, whatever. Licked it. Oh, he didn't lick it. I would have to have sanitizer go, no. But he did examine it again. Now, the hook is set, like fishing. It's like, okay, I didn't push anything. I just let him do his thing. He's already asked me the price. I told him the price. He already was around once. He came back again to look at the same item. That's like a fish swimming to your hook and investigating. Maybe takes a little nibble, but not quite grabs onto that hook. Then that fish decides, you know what? I'm gonna come back. I kind of liked what I saw there. He comes back, and he's investigating. This is when you have to play it up a little bit. And he looked at a couple little other things, and then he called his buddy over. Oh, this gets even better. Your buddy? You're gonna bring your friend over? Now, I know a lot of these guys because we travel in the same circles. We're all part of the same RC community, and when you're, especially with me, like with the YouTube, people recognize me. Even people that I don't know who I am. So they come over and they're examining stuff and they're talking about it, and I'm just let them have their space. You gotta play it cool. I cannot stress it more than that. You got to play it cool when you're trying to do this art of the deal. If you come out rambunctious, nobody likes a pushy salesperson. You gotta just be like, go with it and not care. Not care. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just be like, okay, whatever. It is. It's here. You want it. This is what I was asking. This is. Then they pick up the $15. I call it junk. RC four-wheel drive frame. And they're looking at it and they're talking about it. Now, these people, they're in the RC realm. They do really good custom builds. Like insane. Like I build stuff that's I think is really cool, but they're like way above my capabilities of stuff. They're like they make crazy detail, what I call shelf queens, because they're so detailed stuff. And they're looking at it and they're examining it and they're talking about possibly building a leaf sprung truck too. Ivy, you did your cookout thing on Saturday? Oh, nice. I went to because your son went out and did some metal detecting stuff with his own YouTube. Awesome, awesome. You should have him hit me up. Maybe I can help him out. Yeah. Happy Memorial Day to you too. I am definitely trying to. You guys are now hearing my dog go crazy about something because I am out in an outside building. Give me 1 second. Let me see what the heck she's getting into. Says no. 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 What? Go. Go. You want to go in the house? You want to go in the house? No. Alright. So I'm back. Sorry about that. So his buddy and him are examining the RC four-wheel drive frame. It is old school. It has rust. It's seen. It is not something that you would think anybody be interested, but they're interested in that too. The art of the deal is coming. I know what my numbers are. My numbers are right there, like in my head, and I'm watching the transaction. They're very interested, and I'm gonna have to put her in the house. She ain't gonna stop. All right, guys. Remember that spot. Don't leave. I gotta take care of my dog, or else you're gonna hear the barking the whole entire time. I'm gonna give you a little bit of music and take a minute to get a glass of water while I'm putting the dog in the house. One minute. Now I got water. Water helps. Sorry about that. Sometimes being a puppy owner is very demanding. But back to the story. So the guys are examining the RC four-wheel drive thing, and they're talking about it, and I'm like, all right. And they're looking at both of them now. They're looking at both chassis. And I'm like, in my head. So then they also noticed the winch that didn't work. Sitting there like, well, how much you want for that? I was like, I don't know, $3. I got it for free. Doesn't mean anything to me. I just threw it in the box to go because I don't use them. I could have got. It didn't work. Remember that the electric winch is about yay big. It didn't work. The thing needed to be taken apart and fixed. And so something like that, like $3 is where I was at. I didn't care. I wasn't out. $3 is still a profit because I didn't pay for it. It was just given to me. Sometimes people give me stuff. They're like, "Oh, you're an RCka. You want this stuff? Here." I generally don't turn it away because you never know. So I was like, "Huh." I was like, "Oh, $3." They're like, all right." And now I can see like that hook is about to be set. I'm fishing. I'm fishing really good here. Oh yeah, I got the bait. The hook is baited, and everything else. The fish are liking what they're tasting in the waters, sensing, and they're circling. They're circling that bait. So, in the meantime, while they are circling around, and they went back over to another table. See, this is why you gotta have patience. You can't just jump. You know, by when they came a second time, they're definitely interested. When people come back a third time, this is when you pounce. And you play the game. We're going to get to the game in a minute. It's all a game. Look at it as all a game. And if you do that, you're going to enjoy it either way. Because you are going to be playing. You're just playing with merchandise. Merchandise! Merchandise! Everybody got the merchandise! I have merchandise. They have merchandise. Everybody has merchandise. So, I'm like, no biggie. While they went back and basically they just wanted to step away from my ears to discuss stuff about what they're looking at. You got to give people time to do that. Let them do their processing. You know, it didn't cost me nothing for the swap meet to be there with a table. It cost me $0. So just gas to get there, which I have a fuel efficient car, so not a big deal. And of course my time for the day. But that's not a big deal neither. So they're discussing, and my notification bell on my phone goes off, which you guys quite often hear here. Remember, you're always looking. You're always shopping for the next thing. You're always... So it was for Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace. And the notification, while I'm making deals and all that, was for this car. Remember, it's all in value. This is a $400 value car with all this stuff. Brand new in the package. Brand new in the package. No scratches or anything. Very clean. This car was only driven once, and you could tell it was driven because of the marks on the tires. These would be all shiny if they wasn't driven, but he even said he only driven it once and he didn't like it. So I'm sitting there like, okay, so I have this deal going on over the internet while I have this live deal going on right around me. So I'm like, I look at it, and I was like, all right, cool. I was like, not quick to react on it. Never am. I see what the guy is asking for. He wanted $250 for everything. I pulled it off, but the plastic film was still on the body when I went to pick this up. I'm trying to paint this picture. This was literally a brand new car. This is, if you were to buy this from a hobby shop with all this stuff, and get the upgraded underglow lights and stuff, you're looking at a $400 value. I know what I'm looking at. I know exactly what I'm looking at when I see it. The guy's asking $250. It's still a great deal. I want a second drift car from my collection, not to sell. And here I am, and you're saying, well, how'd you get it for $90. This is what this whole thing is going to be about. I was like, all right, cool. Saved it so I can get back to it. Those same two guys that came to my table with my stuff for sale came back. This is the third time they approached me. This is the third time they're looking at my stuff. This is when you make the deal. So this deal that they're looking. Mind you, I told them $220 for the Vanquish alone. I only paid $50 for the Vanquish. Not, I only paid $15 for that RC 4-wheel drive frame. They're looking at it, and they're going, they're him and hawing, and they start talking between themselves in front of me. Well, you could do this, or you could do that with this, and that, and I see the gears going. I see the smoke. This is when I pounce. This is when I actually become assertive a little bit. A little bit. Making it sound like they're walking away with a winner, but I'm actually the winner. I was like, oh. They're like, well, I really want this. But I really like it. I was like, I'll tell you what. You looked at the RC 4-wheel drive frame. You looked at the Vanquish. And you like them both. Give me $200. $200 for the two. That's out of my pocket, like, it was only $65. 200, like, I came down a little bit on the Vanquish, and I'm throwing in the RC the 4-wheel drive, but I only spent $65, and now I told them they can walk away with both for $200, and they are smiling. Alright, so now they're that fish that is investigating the hook, doing this. All I gotta do is set that hook. I was like, oh, and by the way, I noticed you like that wench. Remember, I didn't pay nothing for that. You can have that too. For the same price. Hook set. Boom. Reel it in. Art of the deal. They pulled out their wallets faster than I can count. They yanked out $200. $100 bills. Handed to me. They walk away. They feel like winners. They feel like they're on top of the world, that they got one over on me. But they didn't. I only had $65 worth of stuff that they just paid $200 for. I'm the winner. I am walking away in profit, but the key is that they are walking away feeling like they are winners. That means eventually, if I go back and I have more stuff, they will come back to me. And they'll see what I have for sale. And see, also think long term. These people in RC Circle, we buy from each other all the time and swap things out. Like, you want them to go away happy. But you want to be, deep down, like, yeah, I got it, yeah. I got what I wanted. I made heck of a profit, and just being patient and not being pushy. You got to know your numbers. Still, now you're like, well, all right, so how in the world did I get a $400 car? I got on the phone after they walked away. It's like, so like I said, I got a $400 value car for $90. I made a deal. Texting. They did it like this. I'm like, yep. Before I even left the place I was at where I was selling, I had made a deal for a $400 value car. He wanted $250. I told him I'll give him $230. I'm still $400 worth of value here, but I'm still playing the game. Because if someone marks $250, they will take $20 less. They'll take $30 less. Sometimes they'll take $50 less, depending on how long it's been sitting there. That is the game. So remember, I got the $200 from $65 worth of junk. I added $30 of my own cash. Got this brand new. I mean, you could have got that test running it in the shop. Like, clean Mustang drift car. That's how you do it, guys. If you don't have the cash to go to the hobby store and pay all that, there is ways to stay in this hobby, make more cash so that you can. It was a heck of a deal. And that's how I do it. And I don't concentrate all my efforts on doing that. It's just I keep my radar up. I keep looking, and I have notifications that pop in, and it's like, hey, check this out, check that out. Look at what's the algorithm in Facebook will, if you're interested in RCs, it'll just send you RC stuff every time something's posted. And you glance at it, and you're like, is it something I can move? Is it not something I can move? You got to know the product. You got to, whatever it is that you're hustling, because it is a hustle, you got to know your pricing and the product and what you're exactly looking at. Because you want to get product inventory, like any other business, for the lowest cost as you can and be able to sell it for a high profit is what I did. And that is how I got a $400 value car for $90. So when you make deals like this, you can shift things, and you can keep going up the ladder. Now, say that I didn't want this particular car, but I know the value's there. I wanted the car. I had one already. I wanted a second one. I'm building a drift track. It's no secret, I wanted 2 drift cars. Like, that's bottom line. But if I didn't, let's say I changed my mind. I got it. I'm like, all right, the dollar value is there. Now with the rims, the tires, the way this car sits, how clean it is, I don't have to do anything to it. I could turn around today, and sell it for market as $350. Today. $400 value, like I said, you don't want to charge top dollar. You want people, when they look at your stuff, that's $400 if you buy it straight brand new. Now, you can't sell it as brand new because it is technically used. It's only driven once, but it is technically used. You take $50 off that thing, and you add all these tires and stuff, I could turn around and sell this thing for $350. $350. Now, this is how you get to something you really want. I went from a small amount of money, a small amount of investment on stuff that I really had no attachment to, didn't care about, like, put it into a box, collected the stuff, went and made some money. Made the money, turned around, flipped that money back over, and bought this car, still more value than the other stuff. And easier for me to move because it is now an RTR running car with extra stuff. So that's I can get 350 for that. Now let's say I took that 350. Let's say I had it marked at 350 and they're like 300. Now I take that $300. The $300 I just got for this is hypothetical now. I told you the story. This is hypothetical. I can take that $300 and I can run with the cash, or I can do the same thing. Flip, 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 flip. You start at one level and you just keep climbing that ladder so you are at a higher level. Now I have this $300 in hand, and let's just say I spot another deal. Know your product. Maybe it's a Losi 5T and the guy wants $1,000 for it. Or maybe he wants $800 for it. Depending on how beat up it is. Probably $800 if it's the original model, because the 2.0 is out. So let's just say he wants $800 for it. Roughly. Losi 5T goes for brand new, $1,500 to $1,700. It has scratches, it has dings. I know the product. I used to have one. I used to race for scale. I'm looking at it. The body has cracks. Well, the body panels are expensive. I'm like, okay, you want $800 for this thing? I have $300 in hand. Let's say I have $300 in hand, and I have a box of stuff, because I always have a box of stuff because I'm always continuously working it. So you get this. You have this box of stuff of miscellaneous stuff that you want to sell to make money, so then you can keep going up the ladder. And it's gonna be low end stuff. It can be high end stuff in that. And he looks at your stuff, and this is how I do partial trades. Like, oh well, he's like, I like this, and I like this. Let's say it's my Vendetta, because I did have that out for sale. Because I don't care about that car. So he likes my Vendetta. My Vendetta's ready to run. That's probably a $300 value right there. If someone's asking $800 something, there is always room to negotiate. He's eyeballing I like his 5T. He likes my Vendetta. I have $300 cash on me. That's $600 right there. You play, let's make the deal. Because when you're browsing, they're doing the same thing that I did to those other two guys. They are taking note in their head. If you come back more than once, they know. It's like a used car salesman. If you come back more than once, they know. They know that, okay, I gotta throw chum in the water to get the shark to come in. It's like, now the chum's in the water and the sharks are circling. In this case, scenario, he has something I want, I have something he wants, and I have cash on me. Because I just sold the Green Mustang for $300. So, we're at 6. We're 200 apart. I look over my table. I'm like, no one's going to drop a 200 on a product. No one. But they might take off 100 if they really want something that you have. I don't know what I have on the table. Just say it's something else on the table, like, that's I paid low price for, but whatever. I tell him, I'll tell you what, I'll trade you the Vendetta. I'll give you $300 cash. People like cash. And I will throw in, let's say I had a radio sitting there with a receiver. And I'll throw in this radio and receiver for your 5T. Remember, he was asking $800 for that 5T. So, I know a 5T is like $1,500. I can get a new one probably for $1,500. $1,500, $1,600. I haven't looked at them recently, so I imagine they're still right around there. I know that truck inside and out. We make the deal. The truck had some cosmetic things, runs good, all that stuff. You're happy. You got this bigger. You just climbed a ladder because now you have a truck that's potentially worth a value of $1,500. Depending on what you have to do to it, you can just clean it up. A lot of people don't clean up their stuff. Clean up the dirt and stuff, make it look like a diamond, and you can make money off of that. How much can you get for a 5T, a used 5T? Depending on what it has for upgrades. Let's say it's a bone stock used 5T. You know, you could probably get $900 for that truck, depending on its condition. And, you know, but that's how you climb the ladder. You start with a very little bit of amount of money, and you keep building it up and higher and higher and higher and higher, so that you can keep getting higher and higher value stuff that you can continuously to flip. Now, there is a point. At some point, you become it becomes a problem. If you have an item sitting on your table that you're trying to move and that costs $3,000, these swap meets, your chances are of selling that are very, very little. So, and the 5Ts, they do sell, like, but not as good as they used to. Like, I was just throwing that out as an example, but remember that, because you start climbing up in the hundreds, your chances of moving product are less. I personally try to keep all items on my table below $500. And just because I have something marked at 500 doesn't mean that's what I paid for it. That's just a number that I want to get. But I also calculate the art of the game, the exchange that you're gonna have, and you know people are gonna try to get it for less. So, and I still, like I said, I still make profit. Just because I have something marked at it doesn't mean that's what I paid for it. And it doesn't mean it's this final settling price that I'm willing to do. And always keep those numbers of what you paid for something in your head. Because when people start throwing out deals, you can be like, oh, like, if they throw a number that's way too low, then you're not going to take it. Because if you do not want to take less money than you paid for, you want to always take more. Buy low, sell high. And that is, my friends, how I turned $90, once again, into a $400 value car. You can do it with anything, just you got to know your product. And that brings us to about an hour stream. It is Memorial Day, so if you are here in the States or if you celebrate Memorial Day, happy Memorial Day, guys. I have to get ready for a cookout, so I cannot stay live any longer. I want you to remember to keep your loved ones safe and close to you. Spend time with your family and friends. And enjoy life. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.